Honestly, attempt number I've lost count of attempting to start this video. Hello my loves and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we are doing August TBR game. Now on top of my normal TBR game and the themed weekly reading vlog that I've got planned for August, I do have another readathon that I want to take part in, and this time it is the full moon readathon hosted by Jan. I'll have her channel linked below. It is a readathon that is taking place from the 1st to the 13th of August, and you have kind of different characters that you need to collect, and you collect these characters by fulfilling prompts. I will go through all the details of this readathon at the end and the characters that I want to try and achieve. This time, compared to last month when I was trying to have a planned TBR for Summerween to fit in with my TBR game, we're not doing that this time. That was far too chaotic. Instead, we're just going to do my TBR game and we're just going to see what books of those fit for the prompts for Jan's readathon, and if I have any gaps, we will go and find some books to fulfill those prompts. I think that's a much better way of doing it, and hopefully it will be less chaotic. I do have one book I need to read for the month, as in a physical book, and that is for the themed weekly reading vlog, so hopefully I can fit that in. And then we do have the Discord book club pick, but I'm reading that as an ebook. If you are interested, it is going to be The Adventures of Amina El Sarafi. So like I say, I'm going to be reading that as a ebook, which I should be getting on the Libby app, which is going to be great. I will have Discord linked below, so if you would like to join in with that at all, you can. It is all free. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. You're not going to get a synopsis in this video. You would have had that in the reset video that would have been out before this. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a fun time. That's it. You know what? It's quite refreshing to start this video off with only having one physical book that I would like to get onto the TBR, and then just seeing how the game goes. But let's get into the rules of the game, what the game is for anyone that doesn't know. It is really simple. We have a 6 coloured sided dice that I roll a minimum of 5 times. The colour correlates to a little ghost that sits on top of a prompt that I then need to fulfill with a book. So we have minimum of 5 prompts to fulfill. However, if I roll the same colour twice, then we have to have an additional roll. So that means there's between 5 and 7 prompts to fulfill for the month. However, I think I'm going to do what I've been allowing myself to do for the last couple of months, which is allow myself to double up once, which means that one book can account for 2 prompts. I've enjoyed doing that. It's given me a little bit more freedom with the books that I can read for the month and adding in any extra mood reads. I've really enjoyed that, and again I think it will work nicely with Jan's readathon in case I can't fulfill her prompt with the books that end up being chosen for the TBR game. I think it'll be a good way of doing it. But I think I've rambled enough for this intro bit. Please let me know what you're going to be reading for the month of August and if you're taking part in Jan's readathon. But I think we're just going to choose a prompt, so we're up to 6, and do our first roll. Giving these a good old shuffle, and we're going to go here. This is a nice simple prompt, animal on the cover. Let's get to that first roll. Roll number 1, pink. All right, we've got a chaos pick right off the start. It's A to Z pick. Okay, you know what? Having this as the first roll is not too bad. I would rather get it done and out the way. That's A to Z pick. So we're going to go onto an A to Z generator, get a randomly generated letter. Then we have to try and find a book whose title starts with that letter. If it's a really awkward letter, then I may open it up to the author's surname as well. See what we get. Okay, we're gonna start recording. Right, I've already got the random generator up. Generate a random letter. Oh, let's see what we get. F. F. Okay. Well, let's have a rummage through the shelves and see what we can find. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but hopefully we will find something. This month, I would like to read quite a few cozy books is my thinking. So I think we'll start off on this shelf here because it's my cozy mysteries. Okay, so no, nothing there. Love will tear us apart. No. Oh, wait, Finley Donovan. That could be one. Finley Donovan. That begins with F. That's perfect. We'll have a quick rummage to see if there's anything else, but it might honestly end up being that book. Yeah, nothing really there. Neston. I mean, we do have Foul is Fair, but I've already reread that one recently. 5 Survive was a good book. I've read that recently. Nothing there. Anything on the horror shelf? Oh, there's a plant in the way. Nothing there. Anything here? I mean, I do have a few Dark Academias that I should be reading, but I don't think... Yeah, they don't work. All right, let me just check my fantasy, because I do need to work on continuing series. We do have Foundry Side, but again, that's not continuing a series, that's the start of a new series, which is one I want to read. It's been sat on my shelves for a while. I think I would rather continue a series. It's a shame that the Marie Brennan ones didn't work, because that would be good to finally actually start reading that. Continuing on with that series. Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything. So, yep, I think it's going to be Finley. Okay, so for A to Z pick, it came up with the letter F, and we're going to go for Finley Donovan Knocks Them Dead by Ellie Cosmano. I feel like this was the universe's way of calling me out, because I have been meaning to read this book for ages. It has been on so many TBRs as options to be voted between. It's come up a lot as something I need to read. I have had this on my shelf for absolutely ages. And I really did enjoy the first book. Finley Donovan is killing it. Like, I annotated it. I had so much fun. This one was a gift from Naomi. Thank you again, Naomi, for that, because it was amazing. But I read this ages ago and I've just never continued on, and I need to. So yeah, that is going to be the first book we're reading for August. And honestly, I'm not mad about it. It fits with the cozy vibe that I would like to read this month. I definitely want to read more. That's something I realized in July. I really enjoy my cozies. Like, I enjoy a lot of different genres, but the books I can read the most consistently is cozy books, and this is kind of like a cozy ridiculous thriller. Perfect. Okay, roll number one, we are off to a really good start. Let's choose another prompt, and you know what, I'm feeling this one right here. Thrifted. Oh, we always like a thrifted book. But okay, let's see what this TBR game is going to give us next. Roll number two. Blue. Mythology. The second pick is Mythology, which honestly I'm quite happy about, because I'm kind of getting back into my mythology book. I took a long break because I definitely read far too many in one go for a Greek mythology video I did, which I've spoken about quite a lot, but I'm really quite proud of that video and how much I read for it. But I have two books. Honestly, it was very simple to choose because I don't have that many mythology books that I haven't already read, but these are two that I haven't read. So I would like you to vote. This is something that I do in every TBR game, is get you to vote on one of the books that I read for the month. So these are the picks. Let's go through them. The first one, we have The Latinist by Mark Prinz. This one was gifted to me by Elizabeth, so thank you so much. And this one is a Daphne and Apollo retelling. I really like the Daphne and Apollo myth. I've actually read that in a short story collection, which was Ovid's Metamorphoses, and I have actually read that poem. I'm really intrigued to see how this is going to go. This one is more of a contemporary dark academia retelling. So this one, we are following a university student who is under the tutelage of a classics professor, Christopher, and she's always thought that he was going to be helping her and everything. However, she realizes that he's actually sabotaged her thesis, and it's this whole kind of thing going on from there of like a tale of obsession, and obviously that retelling of Daphne and Apollo. I think it's going to be really good. I like the fact that this is a contemporary dark academia retelling. I think it would be something different. The other one is Hera by Jennifer Saint, and this is more of the historical fiction classic Greek myth retellings that we've had a lot of, and this time we're seeing Hera. Hera is the sister and wife of Zeus, and she is normally portrayed throughout mythology as this selfish, angry, jealous person. But I think there is a lot to Hera, especially, you know, she's married to her brother. She didn't really have a choice in that matter either. So I feel like she's going to be such an interesting character to explore in Jennifer Saint's really beautiful lyrical writing. So very intrigued. You'll have to let me know which one you would rather I read for the month, whether it's a more historical, classic Greek myth retelling exploring the goddess Hera, or whether we go more contemporary dark academia with the myth of Apollo and Daphne being explored. So please let me know which one you think I should be reading. I've been wanting to pick up both of these. Like I say, I'm back in that mythology mindset. So regardless of which one you pick, I definitely think I'm going to be getting to both of these this year at some point. More just like, which one should I read first? I think they're going to be great, and you'll have to let me know if you've read either of these. Hera is the new release, and I do always enjoy a good Jennifer Saint book. And look how gorgeous that is. but at the same time I love dark academia, and I'm so excited to see what we're going to do with a Greek myth but in a dark academia setting. I feel like that is a perfect setting for a Greek mythology retelling. I'm excited for both. Genuinely, I would not be able to decide between these two, hence why I'm getting you to vote. So please do let me know in the comments below which one I should be reading for August. I always feel like I'm kind of cheating getting you to decide, but you know, I enjoy it when you decide, and I tend to really enjoy whatever book you voted on. Let's stop waffling on. And we're going to choose another prompt. You know what a prompt I would think I need to add to this is a random colour generator, and then read a book whose cover the colour matches. I feel like that would be really good to add in. We'll do that for next time. Let's go at the back this time. A horror book. You know what, that wouldn't be such a bad thing, especially for Jan's readathon, because Jan is primarily, well, she reads a lot of different genres, but a lot of the stuff she reads is horror leaning, so that wouldn't be bad to work for the readathon. But okay, let's go. Roll number 3. Yellow. A romance. Oh, okay. Let's have a look at the romance shelves. Okay, so down here we have my contemporary and romance shelves. There is a few here that I haven't read. We have Magnolia Parks, Into the Dark. We also have a Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch, which would be a fun, cute, cozy romance time. Or a recent book I got on my young adult shelves would be The Darkness Within Us, which is a young adult fantasy romance. Okay, it's going to be between those 3. I'm actually leaning towards either this one or the cozy fantasy romance rather than Magnolia Parks. I'm not feeling that. I need to read it, but I just haven't. But okay, let me have a think and I'll get back to you. So roll number 3 is romance, and I'm still stuck between these two books. So we have The Darkness Within Us by Trisha Levenseller, which is a very new release. It literally came out middle of July. And then we have A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Hawley, which is a more cozy fantasy romance. I don't really know which one to go for, so I think I'm going to read the first sentence of both books and then decide. So let's do that together. A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch is also a book I picked up for free at a free little library, which is really fun. But okay, chapter 1. Aseroth, of the 9 demonic High Council member, legendary soul bargainer and renowned liar, was having a very bad day. I think that kind of sets the tone for like the humour that we're going to get. I definitely think this one's going to be a bit more humorous, cozy filled. We have a main character who is a little bit rough around the edges and has a hot temper, and she stops a demon attack one night, and she is horrified to realise that the man she saved is none other than the cold-hearted Aseroth, who is, as we have just found out, a council of the 9th demonic, have I got that right? The 9 demonic High Council member. Okay, so that sounds like, honestly, that sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. But then we have this one, which I have been interested in reading because I read Shadows Between Us and really enjoyed it, and this is like a companion to that book. We are following Alessandra's sister in this one. So Alessandra is the main character of Shadows Between Us, and her plan was to seduce the king, marry the king, and kill the king, and it was a really fun young adult book. One that I have reread a couple of times. I never thought we were going to get a sequel or a companion to it in any way. The end pages are gorgeous. It's a map. But let's see what this first line is. It's a very short first line. It says, "My husband is taking too long to die." That also sounds pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I actually don't know. I kind of want to read both, and I do have the Thrifted prompt still as a potential to come up, so I might go for Darkness Within Us for this prompt for romance, and if Thrifted comes up we can look at some of the other Thrifted books I've got, but it'll probably end up being this one to have a cozy romance time as well. I think we're going to do it like that and hope Thrifted comes up. If it doesn't, we'll see, maybe it will work for another prompt. But yeah, now that I've read the first sentence of both, I actually really want to read both, but I feel like this one's got more chance of having a prompt come up for it again, so we'll go with this one. I think it's going to be a fun time. I haven't really said what this one is about. As I said, we're following Alessandra's sister, Chrysanthia, and she thought she'd won because she pretended to be this airheaded girl, was like, oh gosh, look at me, I'm just a pretty face, I am nothing else, married so that she became a duchess, and is like, once her elderly husband dies, well, she is going to get all this money and wealth, thank you very much, and live the life that she wants to live all on her own. Perfect. Also, she thought, except now we have an estranged grandson coming in to claim the inheritance instead, because obviously she's only a woman, so of course she can't get the inheritance if there is a male heir. And so she's like, right, well, now I have to kill you. So I think it's going to be another enemies to lovers romance, just like Shadows Between Us was. So yeah, I think it's going to be fun time. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, this is our third pick. Honestly, it's going good. I'm enjoying these picks. Okay, let's choose another one. And we're gonna go in the middle. A manga or graphic novel. I need to get rid of the graphic novel part of that because I don't really have any. It's mainly just manga. The only graphic novels I had are the V. Schwab ones, extras to go alongside her Darker Shade of Magic series and Vicious series. Like, I was enjoying those, but otherwise I don't really read graphic novels. But anyway, I'm waffling again. Let's do another roll, shall we? Roll number 4. Orange. Okay. A short story collection. Roll number 4 is short story collection, which is very interesting because I was recently talking about the fact that I really am enjoying having a short story collection to read over a month or two, because it's just been really fun. I've done that recently with an Agatha Christie one, Midsummer Mysteries. I've been reading it for the last 2 months, just picking it up here and there, and I've really enjoyed it. And so I did decide that regardless of my TBRs, I was going to start picking up a short story collection to have on the go every single month. Whether it takes me more than a month to read or not, it didn't really matter. And I have quite a few short story collections to read. Like, I have loads. So I say loads, I've probably got maybe 8 or 9 short story collections that I can read. But I decided for the purpose of this, because it's in a TBR, so the idea is for me to read it within the month of August, to go for one of my shorter short story collections, and that is Mary Shelley's Transformation. There are only 4 short stories in here. No, there's not. There's only 3. There is 3 short stories in here, so that's perfect. I can definitely get that done. I can either do one a week and get it done, plenty of time. I can do it however I'm feeling. I can pick this one up. I'm looking forward to this. This is a book I've been meaning to read for a little while now. I've mentioned it in a few different TBR videos. I really want to read more Mary Shelley this year. I've been saying that for ages because yes, Mary Shelley is known for Frankenstein, but she's done a few other works and I really enjoy her work. So I really want to read more Mary Shelley. As much as I've been saying it, I've not done it this year. We're finally doing that, and I think a nice little 101 page short story collection to add to the TBR is perfect. I'm really enjoying this TBR game. Whether it fits for any of Jan's prompts for the full Moon Readathon, I guess we're gonna find out. I honestly haven't spoken about what these short stories are about. These are gothic ones. I think one of them is potentially Mary Shelley's take on the vampire. I could be wrong. The Mortal Immortal makes me think vampires, because the 3 short stories we have in here is The Evil Eye, The Mortal Immortal, and Transformation. Very excited for those. Honestly, I'm enjoying it. As much as we're getting into the danger zone and we could end up with lots of additional rolls, I'm enjoying it. Let's just carry on with the good vibe. Let's go this one here. We have fantasy or sci-fi. At the moment, I definitely think I would go for the sci-fi part of that. There is a sci-fi book I really want to pick up in August. I do want to do that, and we still need to get my themed weekly reading vlog physical book on the TBR. So we'll see how this roll goes. We could end up with multiple rolls. But yeah, okay, right, I'm waffling. Let's get going. I honestly think I've said the phrase I'm waffling a lot throughout this video. But right, let's do roll number 5. Let me move this ghost out of the way actually. Blue. Okay, so we are going to have an additional roll. The first one is horror. We're choosing another prompt here. We don't want that. That is oldest book on the TBR. Hopefully that doesn't come up. Okay, so for our additional roll, green. And that is animal on the cover. Okay, let's go have a look at my horror shelf. And I know the book I want to read for this, so let's go. Okay, so we have my horror books. They wrap around this shelf here. And I do think the book I should be reading for this is the Vampire Lestat. I've been meaning to read this for ages. I really think we're going to have to go with the Vampire Lestat, which actually works really well for the next prompt of Animal on the Cover, and you'll see what that book's going to be. But I mean, I have loads that I do want to read. I've got so many I want to read. We've got Our Share of Night, The God of Endings. I've got a T. Kingfisher book, the Twisted ones. I want to reread The Historian, reread that first bit that I read and then continue on with it. This one, Lost in the Garden, I'm saving. We do still have A Botanical Daughter, Orpheus Builds a Girl to read. I've also got another Anne Rice book, which is Wolf Gift. Like, I've got quite a few on this shelf alone. And then on the hardbacks, I do want to read Private Rights, but that I've only just bought. And also The Familiar. The Familiar, I'm not sure if it should be in the horror section, to be fair. I've put it in here because of the cover, but I don't know if it's meant to be there or not. I guess I'll find out when I read it. But out of all of them, honestly, it should be The Vampire Lestat. It has been a book I've been meaning to read since I read Into the Vampire last year. So I need to get this book read. So that is, yeah, we're going to do that for horror book. Okay, let's go. You're going to have to excuse the fact that I've been getting slightly more disheveled with each time we go back to this position. So freaking hot here in the UK at the minute. But okay, right. Honestly, I think this TBR game has been one of the best TBR games I've had. I've enjoyed all of these prompts so much. But okay, we had horror, and as we saw, I am going to read The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. This is the second book in the series that started off with Interview with the Vampire. Loved it so much. It skyrocketed to one of my best favourite books ever, if not the favourite book, because I adored it so freaking much. It really is amazing. The writing is decadent. The atmosphere is second to none. It is absolutely stunning, and this book we are following the person that changed our main character in the first book, Louis, into a vampire, and that is Lestat. So this is his story and I'm so excited about it. It is a much bigger book than Interview with a Vampire. It is, ooh, how many pages are you? 518 pages long. Text is tiny. Absolutely tiny, but I think I'm going to adore this book. So yes, this has to be on there. I've been meaning to read it for ages. I've been saying I'm going to read it for ages and not done it, so it's done. It's on the list. We're going to read it in August. And then the last prompt, animal on the cover. And the book I want to read for this is Carmilla by Sheridan Lefano. This one's edited by Carmen Maria Machado. And look at the bats on this. Isn't it stunning? This is a book I wanted to read in particular for Jan's readathon because, well, Jan, vampires, it just goes hand in hand. It's part of who she is. Even her Patreon is called The Lair. It has to be done. So as much as I said I didn't really have a TBR for Jan's readathon, one book I did keep in mind for it is Carmilla. Just because, one, I've not read this edition of it. I have read Carmilla, but I'm really excited for this edition. One, is illustrated, and two, I'm really excited to see all the little notes that are written in, because we do get footnotes that have been written in by Carmen that's going to add something extra to the story. But just look at these gorgeous illustrations. So I'm really excited to read this one. I think it's going to be such a good reading experience, and it's only a short book. This is definitely one I wanted to read for Jan's readathon, and I'm so pleased I managed to fit onto this TBR. However, I do have one book that didn't fit onto the TBR that I want to read for the themed reading vlog, which if you've seen my recent video you already know what it is. But that physical book is Middle of the Night by Riley Sager, because I am doing a summer thriller reading vlog. This is happening. This is not going to happen during Jan's readathon, even though it would work well. I do want to do a dedicated couple of vlogs for Jan's readathon, then do the themed weekly reading vlog, and then the last week of the month we'll be finishing up the TBR. So hoping we can get these onto Jan's readathon. So let's check the prompts for Jan's readathon. Like I said at the start, this is the full moon readathon. I'll put up Jan's little graphic. You have 4 characters to collect. You have the mummy, the raven, the clown, which let's not do that because I hate clowns, and the werewolf. Each of them have 2 reading prompts and then an extra like lifestyle prompt. The 2 that I'm thinking of focusing on is the mummy and the raven, so doing 1 in each week is kind of the plan. And the prompts for those 2 are pretty easy, so I feel like we can definitely fit this all in. The first prompt for the mummy is a paperback. Got quite a few that we can choose for that. We could actually do The Vampire Lestat, which again is on brand for Jan. So I feel like this definitely works. So I think we're going to be reading this for the full moon readathon and going for the mummy prompt of a paperback. Oh, actually, I think my TBR is working for this readathon perfectly, because the second prompt for The Mummy is a book you've had for a long time, which Finlay Donovan does work for. I have had this book on my TBR since, I'm gonna say, the very start of 2023 or the end of 2022. It's been a long time. That definitely works. Okay, so we've already got 2 of my TBR books onto Jan's readathon. This is going so well. Why I didn't do it like this for Gabby's Summerween, I don't know. I gave myself such a headache. But okay, so that's The Mummy done. The lifestyle prompt for The Mummy is post your read and wrap up so far. So I think I'll do that at the end of the week for The Mummy, and that will be the TBR for The Mummy is Finlay Donovan Knocks 'Em Dead and The Vampire Lestat. And then the next one that I said I wanted to do is The Raven, and on this one, the 2 prompt, again, could be pretty easily done. So the one I wanted to read Carmilla for is a classic, whether it's a classic book, poem, or short story. That works really well for Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu is a classic book. That works really well, and again, on brand for Jan. So very happy with that. This next one is a bit more awkward for me because it's a book by an author I love. And with the last 2 that I have, because I'm obviously not including the Greek mythology book for you to vote between because we don't know which one it's going to be. Trisha Levenseller, I can't say is an author I love because the only book I have loved is The Shadows Between. And as much as Mary Shelley could work for that prompt, I don't want to read the short story collection in the space of just like a week or 13 days. I would rather do it over the course of the month. So they're not going to work for it. Riley Sager also doesn't work because I enjoyed one book by them, read another book and didn't enjoy it. And so this one is the decider of whether I continue reading Riley Sager books or not. That one doesn't work. So we're going to have a think about what we can read for an author that I love, because there are quite a few authors that I love. So let me grab a few books and we will have a little think about that. I'm back. I've had a think. There is quite a few I could do. I could definitely do a Marie Brennan book. However, I'm not feeling it for Jan's readathon. So I have 2 books that I honestly don't know, and I might end up mood reading or hopefully reading both. But the first one that I thought of is Death Comes to Marlowe by Robert Thorogood, because I loved the first book, and while I've only read one book by them, so can't say that they're an author I love, it was a book I adored, and I have been wanting to read this one since I read that book, and that was a good couple of months ago now. So I would really like to get to this one. I think it's going to be a great book to read, a cozy murder mystery. It fits my mood for wanting something cozy to read. I feel like that would be really nice, because then for the readathon we have a cozy book to read each week and a vampire book to read each week, so that could work really well. However, like I said, I did want to fit on Nona the Ninth to my TBR by Tamsin Muir, and Tamsin Muir has become one of my favourite authors because I have read Gideon the Ninth and Harrow the Ninth this year, and I've not stopped talking about them. I have adored them so freaking much, so I would really love to get to this one as well, but I don't know which one I want to read more. Like, they would both be great books to read, and I think I'm going to let myself mood read. So for that prompt of read a book by an author that you love, it's going to be one of these, and we're just going to base it on my mood that week. If I'm a little bit behind in my reading, we'll go for this one because it'll be a quicker read. If I'm doing really well, then I can go for either one. I really want to read both. My thing on it is, even if I don't get to this one in August, then it can come on holiday with me in September, and I'll move this to my holiday book instead of the other book I was thinking about for my holiday. So I think we're going to add either of these, potentially both, because I'm actually off during that whole readathon. I am off work. Okay, well, off work for most of it. I think I'm working the first 4 days of the readathon and then I'm off work, so that's so much reading time. However, during that readathon I also have my own 24-hour readathon, which I will have that TBR video linked below because I have a separate TBR for it. Probably will end up being Death Comes to Marlowe, just in terms of how much I need to get read, so it'll probably end up being this one, but I would really like to read Nona as well, so we'll see. If not, this is definitely going on September's TBR. And then the very last prompt for the Raven is to journal, which is something that I love doing anyway, so that is perfect. So yeah, honestly, for Jan's readathon, I feel really happy with the books that I have chosen for this. I'm so excited to do it. But with that, we're at the end of the TBR, so let's go over all the books that I'm going to be reading in the month of August. A couple of ones that are just added on that aren't fulfilling a prompt is Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. We will be getting this one read because it is a thriller that is taking place in summer, so it works for my themed weekly reading vlog for the month of August. We will then have either No Other Night or Death Comes to Marlowe for Jan's Readathon. And then of course we have all the other books. For Jan's Readathon we have this one fulfilling a classic, as well as my TBR for Animal on the Cover, which is Carmilla, the classic vampire story. Love Carmilla so much. If you like vampire books and you haven't read Carmilla and you're put off because it's a classic, read it. It is so readable and it is so good. It is so good. Like, it's better than Dracula. And I know Dracula's the more famous one, but Camilla came before Dracula and it is very good. We also have Finlay Donovan Knocks Them Dead, and this is fulfilling a prompt for a book that's been on my TBR for a while, as well as my TBR game of A to Z prompt. And this is going to be a really fun, cozy thriller. We're following Finlay Donovan, who is an accidental hit woman. It's so much fun. And then we have Vampire Lestat, which is filling the prompt of paperback for Jan's Readathon and the horror prompt for my readathon, or for my TBR game I should say. Okay, this is actually getting quite heavy. We can do this. We have for my romance prompt, we're going with Darkness Within Us by Trisha Levenseller, a young adult fantasy romance. We have a short story collection, which is going to be Mary Shelley's Transformation, which is 3 gothic short stories. And then lastly, for the prompt of Mythology, we have the books for you to choose for the month. So that's either going to be The Latinist by Mark Prinz, a dark academia retelling of Apollo and Daphne, or Hera, which is more of a historical classic retelling all about the goddess Hera by Jennifer Saint. So there we are, that is the TBR for the month of August, minusing 1 book because I probably am not going to get to both of the 2 additional books I would like to read. I might surprise myself, but this is quite the hefty stack. So we will see. But that is it for my TBR. So thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if you're taking part in Jan's Readathon, if you're taking part in my 24-hour readathon, the Relax and Readathon, or what are you reading for the month of August? Let me know. Or if you've read any of these or want to read any of these, give me all the gossip in the comments. I'm gonna stop talking. I've been talking for ages. I feel like this is a longer TBR video, and I'm also really freaking hot because I've had to close the window to film, and I am honestly dying from heat right now. I'm gonna go. Thank you genuinely so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to vote on which book you would like me to read for the month. And if you've made it this far, then let's put a bat in the comments below for Jan's Readathon, or you could do a full moon. Up to you. And I am going to leave it there. So once again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time to watch these videos. It genuinely means so much to me that you want to watch these videos, to interact. It's amazing, so thank you. And if you have enjoyed this video, then please do consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribe and comment. Those 3 things really help this channel out. My social media links and everyone I've mentioned will be linked below for you, and I will of course catch you in the very next video.